Tree Country 1330 WTRE. Good morning. It's 7:32. Oops, we're a couple minutes late. We've got Mayor Marsh in this morning. It's raining.
It is. Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. And we're off to running in June.
That's right.
How about
Friday
that?
Eve.
That's right. Friday Eve.
You have to celebrate Friday Eve. It's great.
There's a lot going on, and everybody's got graduations out of the way. So now it's graduation party season, summer season.
Yes, summer is here.
That's right. Somebody the other day said, "Oh, it's so hot." And I was like, "Yeah, but we've been waiting on this since like January 1st."
I did not fuss yesterday because it was just beautiful and warm, and
right.
It's finally here.
It was.
We're like down to not very many days till the fair.
It is coming quickly.
Yes.
And you and I will be back again this year for Live at 5.
We are. We've got renewed for season 3.
That's good.
Yes. So Greensburg Power of the Past is going to bring that to you live every day.
There we go. So they're going to be, and then of course I think we're doing the Power of the Past again as well in August. So
yeah.
We've got our summer shows lined up.
We are ready to roll.
That's right. It'll be good. And the fair is always a big event. I know that they're making some adjustments to the parade route. That's coming before council or Board of Works, on Tuesday. So I think they're making some changes to that because of the construction work out at the fairgrounds. I know that they've moved some folks around, so it'll be a good season.
It's a year of transition, I think, because it's a little, little construction going on, but it'll be good.
And the Lures Tickets ride tickets have got to be coming online pretty soon too.
You know what? I'm glad you said that. Kevin Kreitz will be here later today to talk all about that.
Well, look at that.
Yes.
That's an incredibly well-timed plug that I didn't know anything about.
You did a great job.
How about that? But yeah, so the fair will be here and we'll be off and running.
That's right. Tonight you've got a community cookout, hopefully.
We do. It's one of those things where the weather seems to be an unknown. So I think our teams will make that call around probably 2 o'clock. That gives us enough time to cancel everything without getting everything too much in the way. So we'll take a look at that. Stay tuned, tuned to our social media platforms, and we'll be able to share something here hopefully as well. So it's on unless you hear it's not, but we'll be out on Northeast Street, which between 5th and Joram. Starts at 6, goes till 8. Last month, we were out in Fairview, and we had looked like not great weather, but it was perfect weather.
You guys had great weather.
We did, yeah. It was gorgeous. I think it flooded northern part of the county, and it was sunny and 72.
Yes, I was quite concerned because I got like 3 inches of rain. I was like, oh, I bet that's not happening. Nope, it was fine.
It was fine. So that may be the case tonight. But again, Northeast Street, 5th Street to Joram over there. It's sort of it's between the new fire station and Lincoln Street. So if you're not really familiar with where that area is at, that's where it's at. And I think they're doing burgers with all the fixins and hot dogs for everyone that wants that. And kids always love a good hot dog. And I don't know what the sides are, but that's the plan for tonight.
It's always a good meal.
Yeah, they do a nice job with it. GFD usually does most of the cooking and serving, and they help us all out. And PD, and they do fire trucks and police car, and EMS usually attends with us. Lots of good opportunities for young members of our community to take a look at the trucks and cars. But it's also just a great opportunity to come out, meet the neighbors, and again, it's free. There's no charge for anything, and you don't have to live in that neighborhood to attend. We've got folks that join us every month from all over the city and just come out and socialize, see each other, visit with our teams, and I'll be there, so we'll see you tonight.
Very good. Well, Randy Ollis is calling later today, so I will let him know that we need it to clear off.
We need perfect weather.
That's right.
That's what we actually need.
Well, I'm not sure how close to perfect he can get it, but we'll try. We'll do our best.
Lots of effort, much appreciated.
That's right.
And then, of course, tomorrow is not only the farmers market downtown, but last week was a little wet on that. This week looks a little wet on that, too, but that's back. And also, Strawberry Festival is tomorrow. So if you're in the United Funds annual Strawberry Festival is downtown, so you'll want to partake in that if that's an annual tradition.
I talked to Joanne yesterday, and she told me that they're pretty sure they're probably going to sell out this year because the amount of pre-orders they've already gotten. So they'll still be available on the square, but you need to get there. I think it starts at 11, so get there early.
Yeah. Well, they only do like 40 tons of strawberries, so I don't know why they just don't do 42 tons of strawberries, but yeah, it usually does, I think, sell out, or it usually gets really close to.
Yes.
So the farmers market and them coexist in that space. So there's a lot going on the square tomorrow. And of course, we'll get to our construction update in a little bit. But that whole thing is working really well. There's plenty of room down there. Come down, get your strawberry shortcake, and visit the farmers market.
Do some shopping.
That's right.
And then tomorrow night, Taylor Swift's coming to town.
That's right. The Taylor Swift is coming tomorrow to the amphitheater. Again, all weather dependent, and our trail project has gotten the construction version moved out of the way for the concert, which is great. We've been on them to get that cleaned up a little bit before. Some estimates think maybe a couple thousand for the Taylor Swift tribute band.
She can draw a crowd,
Yeah. We don't have her picture on the side of the Hampton Inn.
Don't?
No, like they do when they did in Indianapolis at the JW. But it should be a lot of fun. And I know there's a lot of, Main Street Greensburg's going to be out there, too, in addition to doing the farmers market tomorrow. They're going to, I think, do the bracelets. Or there's some connection to the bracelets.
Yeah,
that
friendship
Main Street's
bracelets are a big thing with her. So
Right. So there's going to be that. There's food truck options. Tree City Brew Company is going to be out there. So it should be a ton of fun. And it's the first one of the year.
It's so fun.
It will be.
This is a good kickoff.
And I think that one is. I think all of the concerts this year are starting at 7.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's the timeline. Visit Greensburg's got all that information on their website and on their social media platforms as well.
And you can park at the high school, and they'll shuttle you over if need be. Correct?
I think so. Yeah, I would assume that they're working with the Power of the Past group again on the shuttle between the high school and the park. That's the main parking for the amphitheater and always has been, so please do that. There will be a few reserved handicap spots there in the park, I believe, but vast majority of folks need to park over in the high school parking lot.
It's bound to be a sellout.
Yeah,
it's Taylor.
That's right. And it'll be great. Hopefully, again, hoping for good weather. Then Saturday and Sunday this week is the open fish days that we talked about out of our reservoir. So historically, we've only ever done the Saturday. So this year we're going to actually do both days. Aaron Schwindeman and the water team thinks that this is a great opportunity to provide another day of free fishing under the DNR. So I said, heck yeah, let's do it. And so they're going to have it open. It will probably, I think 7 or 8 a.m. is when they open that up, and it's usually through noon. So, want to get out there in the morning. And there's a lot of people that go out and fish in the reservoir. We, traditionally open it a couple days a month anyway.
Do you know what kind of fish are in there?
I'm going to go with, here in Decatur County, we could now say potentially alligator.
That is true, yes.
Not that that's a fish, but it seems like a good way to work that news story in randomly. But I'm sure we've got some bass and bluegill, and I'd say that's the vast majority of it. It is obviously our reservoir, so we don't allow boats and motors and those kinds of things, and it is monitored in that we do a lot of testing on the water quality, etc. So I wouldn't think it would be much more extreme than just fishing or bluegill and bass.
Yes. Okay. Good opportunity to go out and find out.
Sure, somebody can tell me I'm wrong on that, because actually on my 5.5 years of being mayor, no one's asked me that question. So there we go.
New first.
One. That's right.
You never know what's going to come out of this mouth.
No, that's okay. That's good. I just don't know.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
This weekend's the weekend.
You want to know what kind of plastic pipe we use for water line? I can tell you that.
You got that one now? Just know what kind of fish we grow.
Don't have a clue on the fish.
We just grow alligators these days.
That's right. So obviously that's a lot of big stuff this week. We've got Board of Works and Council on Tuesday coming up, and normal kind of stuff on the agendas there. So I don't know. That's the big events over the next 4 days, I guess you could say.
Good deal. I was downtown on the north side of the square yesterday, doing some shopping. I'm amazed how it seems. I know it's not quick, but if you're not boots on the ground, it seems like it's moving very quickly.
Shooty's team is doing a great job of getting it all moved east. There is a plan to move over to the Franklin Street side of the project, I believe on the 17th of June, so just a little bit over a week away. And that will then start the second part of the process. We've got our construction meeting with them this afternoon. So Main Street, Greensburg has been doing a phenomenal job of keeping updates posted and timelines and making sure that access routes to businesses are shared. So please go follow along with them. But generally, has remained access through this point. And I noticed this morning that the whole north side is open again. So like if no matter which way you're going, the courthouse as of now and probably through the transition will only be from Franklin Street. So you'll want to take that into consideration. Of course, we're past the busy walk-in times of the courthouse, but obviously still a lot of business being done there. Then once it flips, there will be the interruptions on the east end and including the Franklin Street intersection. And then we'll get it all done and wrapped up. And everyone's cognizantly aware that the Fall Festival is coming rather quickly. I know we're just talking about how it finally got warm, but we'll be there before we know it.
We will. No, it looks really nice. And I was able to access 2 or 3 shops without any issue on the north side of the square yesterday. So it's a great thing.
It is. And yeah, there's a lot of concrete work happening, lot to go yet. Of course, there's pavers that are coming at some point in time. Of course, we've got landscaping and all of that stuff that will come later in the year. But generally, if you've been down on the far end, I know it's a little bit inconvenient, but between Montfort and Jackson Street, which is the first phase of this project that we started, last winter. If you have driven down through there, the street's not done. But, the grass is growing, the trees are in. I saw some folks had planted some flowers in around the trees in the strip. So it looks really good. And then once all the blacktop gets done, it'll be a great improvement to our downtown community.
I noticed, I believe Expressions are the ones that have planted flowers downtown. It looks nice.
Yeah, and that's something that as we continue to improve our sense of space and quality of space, items like the Alley 1822, the planters on Franklin Street, there's some planters going in on Washington when it's done and finished, is trying to make sure that we stay on top of seasonal plantings that look better than just empty boxes or wilted dead plants. Main Street's partnered with us to take care of them and water them, so we appreciate their support in that capacity. Expressions has done a great job in getting the quality products and designs that look really good in our downtown. They're invested in our community, which is great. So great local business adding their expertise, and shops are taking care of their flower pots and planters. So I think when we get this, I know it's been a long 2 years, but when we look back 15 years almost now when the west side of the square was done, that's starting to, we're going to repave it. Like I know that, and I get some comments on the paving quality in Broadway there. That's on the repave schedule with Washington Street. Obviously the south side of the square was done in 2019. South Franklin Street's going to get repaved as a part of that project as well. So when we are done with this section of construction at the end of 2025, you're going to be able to walk through our downtown. It's going to be safe. It's going from a sidewalk and trip hazard, which was a big deal before. I know we quickly forget sometimes those hazards that we don't necessarily notice, but it's going to be safe to traverse. It's going to look beautiful. It's going to help foot traffic, and it's going to create a place that people want to be. And it will also set us up for lots of years of having to do continual maintenance. We understand that, as every good thing does, but it's also a really big reconstruction project that creates and emphasizes our historic downtown, which sometimes we as locals take for granted. Anytime I bring folks to town and we're downtown, there's lots of comments about how it's so great to have an actual historic downtown. It's great to have multiple architecture styles. It's great to have the facades intact. And it's also how wonderful it is to have such a variety of restaurants and shops. When I tell folks, when they ask me where to go to lunch, I'll say, well, we've got barbecue, Indonesian, Japanese, diners, and bar. And they're like, okay, well, which one's downtown? And I'm like, no, all of those are downtown. And that's sometimes mind-blowing to them.
I had a drug rep in my other job I was talking to last week, and he said, how long is that tree going to be in the courthouse? And I said, well, it's been there for ever, as long as I know. He's like, it has, like, that's not a new thing? And I said, no, that's not a new thing. I said, it's been there. He's like, well, I drove through your downtown before I came in. He's like, your downtown is just busy and it's full. I said, yeah, it is. And I said, and we've got the tree in the courthouse. It's not going anywhere. So just unique things that we're used to seeing every day that people have no idea. So
Yep.
it's good.
I'd rather have a full downtown than a vacant downtown.
That's right. We'll just keep on trucking. It's
That's
doing
right.
well. Liberty Lakes, it seems to continually progress over that way.
They've been making a lot of progress. There are 2 new foundations in, which is great. That's a very positive start. Continuing to see great success out there. We had a related but unrelated, we had a developer roundtable, which means we just hosted a meeting pretty much at the old fire station last week to talk with folks from all over the state about the project or the property, what we'd love to see, what they would like to see, etc. Get them an opportunity to walk in, look at the space, see what it is. And the folks that are developing Liberty Lakes came and did a little 3-minute spiel on why they're investing in the community and the success they've had, and they were talking about some of the other projects that they've worked on and how this one has been very quick and efficient to get up and running, and that they've been very excited about the results so far. And Duke Energy is making great progress on getting the rest of the streetlights in for them. The gas companies are working to get that put in all the way through the back, and then they'll get the pavement work finished up. So overall, a lot of really good progress out there. One thing that keeps getting brought up in that same generalized area is the section that appears to be Broadway between Smith Road
Yes.
and Veterans Way is not really a public street, because we get a lot of comments about the potholes. When are we going to fill the potholes? That's not a public street. It is owned by Edgewater Apartments. It is a private section of their property, drive, road. I don't even want to call it a road, their driveway. And we've talked to the building, we've talked to the company about that and their need, to fix it, but it's really up to them. So we're going to add some additional signage there, and I encourage people to sort of follow Smith Road around to Veterans Way. I know that it seems dumb and out of the way, but that section of street isn't a street.
It's not a street.
Yeah. So we're going to add some additional signage there to encourage people to go around it, and it's not because of the maintenance that we don't want to do on it. It's because it's not public right-of-way. Now, that's a good way. It's not public right-of-way. It is a private drive.
Like the city, just for clarification, people, the city does not own that
Right.
stretch. So
Yeah.
there's no jurisdiction over that piece.
Right. Can't tell me. And it's, between Smith Road, which is where the road before Veterans Way was built, everyone turned because otherwise it just went to the apartments, right? That curve that goes off to the left and then goes back around and connects to Veterans Way is the public right-of-way. The other piece is private property.
All right.
So, and then
Follow the street.
Yeah, the same thing. We get, again, a lot of comments about the sort of large potholes that develop in the area in front of the old Frisch's or in that particular shopping center, etc. Again, not a public street, not a public right-of-way. That's a private landowner responsibility. So, just sort of something in that same area of Liberty Lakes, as traffic increases, and what the future of that looks like out there as well.
All right. Very good. What about updates with the Ready funds?
Ready's been making a little bit of progress, which is good. That's very exciting. We're very happy to see that. We have marathon meetings on that actually today as well. That are, I think there's 3 of them back to back with differing groups and parties involved in the Ready process from across our region. And there have been some letters of intent sent out by IEDC, which is about worth the paper it's written on, but it's some progress. And what that means is we've been in a very stagnant, unknown position since literally, January 1st, kind of, to what is the future of the Ready program and Ready 2.0 programs. Big problems with that include people that had budgets that have only, gone up over the last 5-6 months. construction season that has started and is no longer maybe viable for some projects to get started because funding for design or funding for pre-work wasn't in place to get that started. And it's really been a very expensive delay for projects that are associated with Ready. But with the letters of intent that have started to trickle out, they haven't been widely issued, but there have been a couple. That's a very positive thing in moving that ball forward. So while I don't have a date yet, and I don't know when we're going to get a date, the small movement is a big win. And our region is still, and I know if you've, as everyone I hope is a frequent listener of the program here, we've been talking about this for 2-3 years now. Our region is leading the way in Indiana when it comes to Ready and Ready 2. And so we are more ready than anybody else. And I was at a meeting a couple weeks ago with a big group of Central Indiana mayors. So think of all the big players and the amount of bureaucracy and frustration that they have created and are encountering is really putting them so far behind. Rural Indiana's killing them. Because we're able to move efficiently, we're getting along, we work well together, we've identified projects that are great and targeted. So we've been so successful that we're really being hampered with these delays.
I think it's important too, and we had Commissioner Jeremy Pazel on a couple weeks ago. Everybody keeps hearing budget cuts, and SB1 and all of that, we don't know what the fallout looks like. But then we continue to progress and make changes, and people think, okay, if we have budget cuts, then where is that money coming from? And so we talked a lot about that with Commissioner Pazel about that. What about for the city? Yeah,
and I missed your program with him, but the generalized idea here is that our general fund, which is mostly affected by SB1, which is the property tax fund generally, almost exclusively funds police and fire. And so over 60% of our general fund budget goes to police and fire, health insurance benefits, property insurance, utility cost, and, professional services, financial advising, legal, etc., those kinds of things. There are, in theory, about the equivalent of 4 salaries paid for out of the general fund that are not police and fire. So when we talk about capital improvement projects, a lot of times those are funded by funds that are not in the general fund. They are funded by very capital specific funds. So there's a cumulative capital development fund that you cannot pay people out of. You cannot do anything but capital. So you have to buy something with it. When we talk about like the trash tipping fee, that's a totally separate fund that funds the sanitation division and department, that funds trash trucks, that funds the tipping fee at the landfill, that funds toter replacement or truck repair, etc. Right? So MVH, which is motor vehicle highway, a lot of times that's our matching money for CCMG, the Community Crossings Matching Grant, which is how we pave roads. When we talk about large-scale park road projects, that's a blending of a lot of funds. So it's all tax revenue. It's not all property tax revenue. And it's not all necessarily directly affected by SB1, although it is in some ways. But there are certain things that are required to stay in certain buckets. It's not just one big blender, and then you divide it up. It's much more nuanced than that. But on our general fund budget, which is the SB1 conversation, a super vast majority of it is police and fire. And, there's lots of conversations surrounding that as well. But the amount of discretionary spending in the general fund is very limited. And that's where the conversations about how SB1 is impacting communities is the most impactful, because it's a lot of operational cost for our 2 most expensive agencies, but also very valuable agencies. So we have to find the balance for that. So when when we talk about getting hundreds of thousands of dollars in grant dollars to do the trail expansion project, we literally hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we have to bring $100,000. Well, that's a very good matching number, right? 80-20. You bring 80 cents and I put in 20. I bet most people would say I'll take 80.
It's a good deal.
It is a good deal, right? It's adding value to our community. Those grant, and another thing I hear a lot is, well, we don't, if those are my dollars that went to fund the grant, that is true and accurate. Those dollars were getting spent somewhere else. My prime example is Nancy Pelosi was not going to not build a bridge in San Francisco because Indiana didn't get a cut of something from the federal government was funding. The money was getting spent anywhere. So anytime that we can recoup those costs and recover those tax dollars back into our community, I think is a win. Now, we have to be able to afford the match. I'll be the first person to admit that. But when we look, since I've started, millions and millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars worth of grant money coming back into our community, that is massively impactful. And, sort of the worst match that we have is on pavement at 50-50. That's the worst match. So when we look at something that has an 80-20 or a 90-10, those are, very enticing. Obviously, we have to do paving work too. But we can really stretch dollars really far into other areas. The downtown projects, the Franklin and Washington Street projects, have they're multi-million-dollar infrastructure improvements, and we have less than $500,000 worth of local money in that. Some of that's utility money for stormwater work and some other work in that space, but millions of dollars invested in our downtown at a very fractional cost locally. Again, it's all tax money.
Right, it's all tax money.
You won't hear me not say that. But it is money that had already left our community. It went to the federal government. It went to the state government. We went and worked and recaptured it and said it needs to be reinvested in our community. And, we had to put a little skin in that game. But I think if you can rebuild your entire downtown for less than $500,000 to the level that we've done it, that's a win.
And, I think it's important with those grant dollars to think about as well. Like you said, they're already gone. The grant money has been removed from our community. So if you can recapture it, then at least your money's being reinvested into our community.
Yeah.
Versus, because it's going to go to somebody. Someone's going to get that grant money.
It's going somewhere. Whether you think we need trails or not, the state of Indiana, with Hoosier tax dollars, funded Next Level Trails. Millions of dollars in trail money. That was paid for by Hoosiers to the state of Indiana. Whether we built a trail or not,
it's there.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think $350,000 that we recaptured for that process and trail, that offset a lot of what Decatur County contributed to the state of Indiana, if not all of it was offset by Decatur County residents coming back to Decatur County. Your state taxes weren't going down because Next Level Trails wasn't funded, right? And so if we're bringing some of that money back into our community, we're getting a value for those dollars that would have been spent in Jasper or LaPorte or anywhere.
So we use them here locally.
That's right.
Oh. Speaking of which projects, Park Road released this week. The Park Road project website is up and going.
Yep, that's our first sort of step in the construction process. There has not been, there's some concepts on there, but there's public input sessions still coming. We've got a long time to go yet, but it's parkroadforward.com. And it's a separate dedicated website that has some information, lays out the phases. We've been talking about it for 5 years here, off and on. But a lot of opportunities still, 2027, 28, 29, probably 28 for construction is the first go-around. So we're a long ways away. Nothing big on the construction front. And, phases 1 through 4, which gets us down here near the Crooked Creek addition. And that information will be up and available. There's some FAQs on there. If you've got other questions, there's some contact info on there as well.
Very good. All kinds of fun stuff going on across the city.
That's right.
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock already. It's 8:01. Can you believe it?
Well, we started 1 minute late, so we'll run a minute over. But thanks, everyone. I am traveling next week as well, so I will not be here. We will catch up on Border Works and the City Council stuff on the 19th. And so, everyone, have a great week.
All right. Have a great day. Enjoy the rain. It's out there. It's 3 Country 1330 WTRE.